r/ask Reddit. What socially unacceptable things are you okay with? Leaving a party without saying goodbye. I too am the master of the sneak out. So much easier and quicker than trying to say goodbye. My wife hates it when I leave her and the kids there. You guys need a code word. My so and I tried the look and one of us always fails to notice. We now go into social situations with an emergency exit strategy. Doing things alone. For example, eating in public alone, seeing a movie on your own and so on. I went and had lunch alone at a cheap Italian place. When I told my coworker, he was flabbergasted that I had eaten by myself at a restaurant. He kept asking if it was awkward, etc. How is it awkward to go out and eat by yourself? I don't get it. I eat alone all the time. I don't think people really see it as weird anymore. Really depends on the restaurant. The more casual it is, the more acceptable, I think. It'd be a little weird to see someone getting a 7-course meal with wine pairings alone, but a dude grabbing a burger and a beer at a local bar doesn't even attract a second's notice. Silence. People always try and fill the silence. Just shut up. It is fine. I seriously don't care if we are sitting in awkward silence for 20 minutes. It isn't awkward to me at all. It's the staring. You may need to work on that. I've found a sensual dance helps break the tension. That trying to fill up awkward silence with small talk makes things more awkward. Day drinking. As long as it doesn't become a problem, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't be able to enjoy a beer at 11 AM. You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. You can drink if you want to, you can leave your friends behind. Addictions counselor here. On Saturday when I wake up and have my house clean by 8 AM, I am damn well gonna sit down, have a beer or two, then crank the AC and take a ducking nap. My co-workers found out and were shocked. What does the time of day have anything to do with enjoying a beer or two? If it becomes a problem, a daily thing, something that I need to function, then I have a problem. Saying black instead of African American. I started to dislike when people say African American when I met my Haitian and Jamaican friends. Not every black person is African and not every African is black. This is why we need to just realize we're all American in this country. My family hasn't been from Italy in 100 years. How am I Italian American exactly? Being alone. I don't get to do it enough. So I adore being alone. Running in public. Not as means of training, but as means of getting from one place to another. Much more time efficient than walking. I would run at the speed that I'm not going to sweat. I once ran home from the pub, and I got stopped by the police because they thought I had stolen something. I consider myself in pretty good shape. I actually prefer to run home from the bar as opposed to taking a taxi, even if it's a couple miles. Not a big deal and you usually feel much better when you get home. I'm perfectly okay with swearing in public, as long as it's not in a formal setting. If I'm around all adults, absolutely, but if I'm around someone else's kids I try not to just out of respect. As a parent, I really appreciate this. It's not even so much that the words themselves are such big deals, but kids repeat everything, and I don't want them repeating certain words and phrases in a place where it can get them in trouble. That's why we don't curse around our kids, and why we dig when other adults get this concept. Talking about sex, menstruation, any sexual health in general without feeling the need to hide my pads or whisper so I don't educate anybody on normal bodily functions. God forbid we remove potentially harmful taboos that are in place for no reason. My dad is this way. I'm a boy stuck between two sisters, so I got used to those topics fast, but whenever it happens to come up he gets super uncomfortable. It's like, bro, you have two daughters, periods aren't magical. Skipping pleasantries if I know someone. Just because I didn't say good morning does not mean that I no longer like you. Little rituals are social glue, though. A canned greeting doesn't have much value on its own, but it does help to exchange non-verbal cues. If I say good morning to you every day, you'll get to know the difference between a happy good morning, a sad good morning, and an angry good morning. And if I usually say good morning but haven't today, something's probably wrong. A good friend will pick up on things like that and be ready to help. Why give up that opportunity? Indeed, A lot of people on Reddit fail to understand that much of communication is non-verbal. It's about feeling out how the other person is doing, whether they want to talk, etc. We get it. The weather is not an enthralling subject, but if you don't learn basic social skills, you will never get the opportunity to converse about the stuff you actually care about. Riding on shopping carts in the parking lot. It's like a scooter with a basket on it. We're a dying race. I rarely see anyone do this coming out of a store. Talking about salary, I feel like it's a taboo that benefits employers at the expense of labor who never find out if they're being underpaid. Certainly makes negotiations more difficult. This one hurt me. A new co-worker who did the same job I did told me he was making more. I had everything on this guy. More certs, more years experience, more training, and above all I was 100% billable, which meant my company didn't pay a dime for me and made significantly more than I got paid. Of course I decide to ask my boss WTF, but I'm in trouble because I discussed it and it was none of my business. It's none of my business how you're screwing me over. Being honest instead of being nice. An example would be like when someone asks you how they look in something, usually women. I'm completely honest with my response. If I don't like something, I say so. But I'm not mean about it, but I don't lie to save their feelings. I expect the same in return. In general, I just value honesty over almost anything else. Not knowing what I want to do with the rest of my life. Not talking to your close family. Blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Drugs. Well, most of them anyway. No needles please. Needles are scary. Not being married. I tried it. It wasn't for me. And now I'm not lonely. I love being single. Plus I have a great daughter out of the deal. Other people not drinking. I have a few friends who for their own reasons don't drink, and every time we are out they have so many people astounded that they don't drink and trying to get them to drink. People can do it in front of me. It's kinda like watching the Discovery Channel. We ain't nothing but mammals. Avoiding small talk. I'd rather actually say nothing, rather than physically say something with no meaning. A lot more unacceptable than most of what I've seen in this thread, but euthanasia. I'd even go so far as to say that the way we treat terminally ill patients, and especially the elderly, can be downright inhumane. I've seen a relative go from a completely functional human being to nursing home resident with late-stage Alzheimer's. I can't think of few things more cruel than that. With no hesitation, I'd rather die than slowly lose what makes me a person. And the worst thing is, they know they are losing something each and every day. And then we have patients that are 100% mentally intact, but would rather die with dignity than live through invasive surgery after invasive surgery while living the last years of their life in a hospital bed. And we make them suffer for it. Passive euthanasia is incredibly cruel in its own way. Turning off feeding tubes to watch someone slowly starve to death is downright barbaric. Everyone should have the right to die with dignity, by their choice and without pain. Doing my makeup in public. I just don't understand why people get offended by this. Offensive jokes. Calling someone the next day after a date. I always thought the 2-day rule was stupid. If you like someone, call them and ask them out again. Don't play games with people. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.